Good. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to each of you here in person and then all of the ones online. So let's see, we have five online. Um, Thank you for the introduction. I was not expecting that. That kind of threw me off, but I think that was a great way to kind of get us started with what exactly is digital accessibility? What does that mean within our IT space?
And he's a past graduate. He used to be
And yes, thank you for pointing that out. I was in this program as well, and loved it. And it really gave me a good taste of just multiple spaces we can and paths that we can take within this program. And what that makes me think too is I would be interested in gaining a sense of who I'm talking to. So what is your focus within this program? So you spoke about websites. So I'd like to see how many of you here are focused on web development? Just raise your hand. Anybody online? I'll look in chat to see.
I'll do it real quick. So, cybersecurity, raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Networking, raise your hand. Database, project management, programming. Okay. You already did web development and any other. Okay.
What was it for web development?
Just a couple.
Just a couple. All right. Um,
And they're all junior, senior tonight.
uh-huh. And so within every single one of them, there will be some type of work to which you will need to keep in mind, is this app, is this document, is this website, is this service, online service that I'm helping to provide, develop, accessible? So that's what we're going to talk about. And what uh, I was going to open up with as far as this intro, you've already gained a little bit of sense of what it means through the introduction, I hope. And so that's why I want to open it up right now and ask, what does digital accessibility mean to you? And don't be scared of any wrong answers. What you're thinking, I want to hear. Yes.
I would say it's making sure that everybody, no matter their circumstances, has an equal opportunity to be able to interact with what you're designing. And there's really no reason for anyone to not be able to use your service or your website or whatever it is.
Yeah, well said. Anybody else to add on that? Or just kind of thinking a different way? Yes, there.
Being able to make your design adaptable. No matter what.
Adaptable. That's a great term to use because, for example, we could be using our laptop, but we may be using our mobile device. So is it accessible not only for people where I'm going, is ones with disabilities, um, but the overall experience for everybody. So we'll continue forward with that. Um, so to touch on digital accessibility, this allows those with disabilities to access the digital contact that you're providing. So I already touched on it, a mobile app, websites, documents, disabilities, as that's so people with a disability is considered a minority group, but it is the largest of all that is out there. And at any time, any one of us could have something happen to us to where we are then in that place. So I like to put that out there, is that this is the only minority group that any of us can at any time be part of that. Um, there's about 25% people here in America, adults, that live with a disability. Those that are most impacted by our digital space would be visual, hearing, cognitive, and mobility impairments. And so this would be around one in every 7 adults. So what that tells us is within our group online and all of us here in person, there's a huge chance we have a few in here that may be living with a disability. I know that we have one because I have a disability. I live with epilepsy. Um, I have to be careful. I can't drive because of seizures. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with them often, but epilepsy and seizures is one that falls in this category of our digital space and what we are developing and providing. If there is flashing lights, very flashing lights, such as designed to get attention or something, that can trigger a seizure in people with epilepsy. It's not, it could impact someone also with a different type of disability, such as PTSD. So I just wanted to give you a sense of who we need to be mindful of. So how does this apply to you? Going back to digital accessibility, within your workflow of whatever you are working on, developing, accessibility needs to be part of that phase 0 from the start. Already start thinking, building an understanding of what that is. And so that's what I do here with USC. Just like what I'm providing you is training, awareness, because through school, think about yourself right now. How much have you learned about digital accessibility since you were in kindergarten to this? Would this be your senior year or junior year? Um, how much have you learned about that through school? Unfortunately, that is not something that is incorporated within our education. And so what that means is us within our IT space going out and cybersecurity, software, web development that we were touching on. When you are creating this content without knowing and understanding how to apply digital accessibility, you may understand kind of the big picture, but if you don't understand how to incorporate it within the workflow, then that is many people that you are discriminating, that you may be preventing them to be able to do the same as everyone else that does not live with a disability. Going back to that 15 to 25%, that adds up. Like I said, within this class, going along with those numbers, I wouldn't doubt, have more than one. So keep that in mind. And when the really neat thing that I've enjoyed learning through my time working in this space of digital accessibility is how it can change our thinking and how it overall improves the usability for everyone. So with and without disabilities. So I've got a couple examples here. So SEO, I'll touch on that when how practicing or applying best practices of digital accessibility can improve your SEO. Mobile usability, I've already touched on. And customer satisfaction. You want to keep customers in mind while you're developing, while you're working within your space. How will this impact the end user? So with that said, accessibility simply is the right thing to do. To be able to do it, you need to understand it. Assistive technology, that term was mentioned during my introduction, so I appreciate that. So it's any device or app that assists people with disabilities. Now, some of you, I'm gonna quickly skim. Okay, so I see a few of you wearing glasses. This is a type of assistive technology because when we take it off, right now, y'all are much blurrier than you are when I'm wearing it. So that's my impact on my visual ability to see things. Some examples that apply more within the digital space is keyboard accessibility tools, screen magnification, so zooming in, screen reader, this would be similar, so also text to speech devices or apps. So it will read the content aloud. Speech recognition, this is similar to voice to text. In ways, many of you may be using this and don't even know it. How many of you talk to Google or talk to Siri to pitch a question, ask about the weather? I see a couple hands going up. So you are using a type of assistive technology. So accessibility by design, AT, so assistive technology, AT on its own is not enough. Because as with many things, AT is a tool. So such as, let's go back to that screen reader, that especially most commonly would be for those that are blind and are fully dependent on that to read any content to them aloud, as well as controls, buttons, forms. Are the form labels named appropriately? PDF files. So if your digital service is inaccessible, so not accessible, then the AT tool is limited. So going along an example, going back to what I mentioned as far as SEO, so alternative text, I'm about to touch on that, but using this example for images, such as a web page, got an image there. Are you using the alt attribute of that element? That alt element, or rather that alt attribute, is the description of that image. So someone that can't see, or if your image doesn't load, maybe because the path is incorrect or the internet connection is very poor and it doesn't load. What will load is that alt text that you include within your code. And so then the accessibility mindset leads towards innovations, creativity, because it does cause us to shift our thinking about whatever we are working with. So going back of what I just shared, I'll ask one more time. And I'd like to see just a couple others in the back, one on the right, one on the left. What does digital accessibility mean to you? Yes, sir. Well said. Yeah. One over here. Yes. Yes. And the big thing that we're hearing here is everybody. Who falls under everybody? Everybody. All right.
Can I give a feedback?
Sure.
So just to give you an example, he's giving people that have PTSD or deep glasses or they're blind or all these different things, but they could be like my aunt. She retired. The day she retired, she thought she was going to travel the world and get to enjoy things. A week later, she had strokes in her eyes and went blind. And so she can see blurry things, but she has to use a magnifier now. But we still text her and we still email her, and just to read things, that she has to have that. I know other people that we send Word documents to, or PDFs to, same thing. They have to be able to read those text readers and so forth. So everything that you really create, because you guys email every day, you send Word documents, PDFs, everything you create is not just websites. It's something that's readable, and if it's you got to read it, it's going to happen. You have to make it accessible, okay? And including the pictures, because a lot of times we'll put a picture and they'll say, "What's that picture of?" Because they can't see it, they can't see the words, and so you have to, even when you cover over the picture, it will say a picture of a boy with a dog or whatever, and it's talking about that. So those are the kind of things that you need to, you know, outline all of that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so, like you said, I'll just repeat it one more time, is our documents. Um, so let's dive into, if you find interest in learning more about this, being able to work. You don't necessarily have to aim now to digital accessibility space as your job, as your career, but you can learn as you go through potential internship with working with our digital accessibility team. Um, we a regular thing that we do is web testing. So if you were a web tester, one thing, especially if you are interested in better understanding digital accessibility, how to apply it to any of your work, that digital work that you'll be providing to others, this is a great way to more quickly learn and understand what digital accessibility is, how to apply it appropriately. Um, so the neat thing that I really like to point out too is the more you gain about digital accessibilities. So if you were to work with me and do web testing to identify from certain sites, uh, here's a failure. So one thing that I'll point out is, so web content accessibility guidelines. By law, those are the guidelines that must be met for a website to be able to, and I do not like to go along the legal end. Rather, like I've already said, it's just the right thing to do. And like some of y'all have said, that it benefits, it helps everyone. For those with disabilities, it makes it possible. But um, by law, you could be sued. Domino's years ago got sued for their website because of submitting the order was inaccessible for keyboard users. Um, so that is what I just want to provide you a sense of, that owning this knowledge, gaining this knowledge, but then owning this knowledge is transferable into any digital space that you go when you are creating digital content, digital services, digital apps. Um, with this, AI is beneficial for many portions of this work within digital accessibility. So you would learn some of that uh, working as a web tester. It was really neat just this past summer. And I was happy because um, uh, you go by Tony, and I was going to say Professor Dillon, but Professor Tony Dillon. Um, uh, I think I told him about summer assistant that I had just this past summer, and it was really neat that so at the beginning there's kind of this training piece where just to build the understanding of what you're looking for and understanding uh, the portions of what you are um, looking for as far as websites. But it was pretty neat how he said, since I learned about accessible headings, so headings within websites, I now apply it to my course documents because of the navigation list I can use to easily access those portions. Well, that's one thing that I like to pitch, and it made my day when he just told me that one day, is yeah, I'm using this for my course documents so I can more easily skip through my notes to then read through them, study them. So that's what I mean by transferable knowledge. Once you gain the understanding of these best practices, it it is applied differently, but it is still applicable for any of the space within um, our area, our digital space. So alternative text for images. So I touched on that. Um, color usage and contrast. What I mean by that is think about if you have a chart that goes by color alone, but when you print it out, it's in black and white. How will that then confuse whoever is looking at that chart? That goes along with color blindness. I was actually presenting to a department once and touched on that, and he raised his hand. So I mean, that I wasn't expecting that, but he then spoke just briefly about that. Accurate headings, what I was just referring to from that past student assistant I had. Accurate links. What I mean here is whenever you're providing a link of any type, whether through a Word document, website, and beyond, you don't want to keep it vague. You need to keep it meaningful, accurate. So, for example, what we're all used to is seeing click here or here or learn more. Think of that out of context. I say that because for screen reader users, they have the ability to extract those links and then get a list of all the links of the page. If they then see learn more, learn more, learn more, click here, click, where does that bring me? So that is very important with also headings and links. Be mindful of how to make them meaningful. I like to point out too that the way this benefits everyone, so including those without disability, is and my mind went blank on me. Oh, yes. So skimming like through an article or a document, skimming through it, we don't always just read from the first word to the last word. Skimming is very common for all of us. Those links, they stick out because different color, underlined often. When skimming through it, it'll catch our eye. And I see some nodding with that. It will catch our eye. But if we're seeing click here, for us that can see, okay, well, shoot, click here. All right, well, what is this? Let me get some surrounding context. If it was a meaningful link, us that can see don't need to think further. We know where we're going. We click quicker. Data tables, as far as tables, and this is, I believe, used less now, especially within the web world. But tables should be used for data alone, not layout. That can, just think of your computer view compared to the mobile view. That can really mess things up with that. So that's just one example. Captioning and transcripts. If you are providing a video, there needs to be accurate captionings, or a transcript that does provide the content with that is time stamped appropriately. With all of this that I've touched on, the big piece that whenever I'm speaking to anybody, and I'm honored that you are the first group of students that I've presented to. There's been many years of presentations to faculty and staff here. But what feels so neat right now is making you aware before you get that, you launch that career. You gain a sense of digital accessibility, the importance of it, and how it can really negatively impact many people, but how it can really positively impact everybody if it's being applied appropriately, if not negatively impacting many people with disabilities, and like I like to touch on, everyone. And so just that final item on that list is there are several automated accessibility checkers. Office, Microsoft documents such as PowerPoint and Word, they provide it. There's some web automated checkers. So I mean that it does use like coding and AI to help with that. But that I want you to know does not fix it. Fix everything rather. It can only identify appropriately maybe 40%. That's the importance of understanding what digital accessibility is, how to apply it, so you won't have to worry about finding a load of failures later to then backtrack, fix these to then get up to speed. The term accessibility being baked in. So baked in, that goes back to what I said earlier, is from the start. Start thinking about what you want to develop, what you're working on, how can we make it accessible from the start? So I'll just close with what is one thing that you understand about accessibility now. And I'd like to see a handful of hands come up because I feel sure of what I've shared. You have at least one takeaway from this, and it would be very meaningful to me to hear from several. So who has the bravery to share? I saw your hand up first.
That accessibility is in a permanent, like, meaning accessibility doesn't mean permanent disability. It could be also catering to temporary disabilities too. So that's not right.
And that was great that you said that. Yeah, did I touch on that while I was speaking?
Yeah, there was.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. Because yeah, if we have a broken arm, hand, we're limited. We are then more dependent upon the keyboard, like many people are permanently. I saw your hand up.
Yeah, so mine kind of goes along with that. Accessibility is about more than just disabilities. It's even just for people with different devices or different, technology situations.
Mhm. Correct. Yes, sir.
Disabilities.
Right, yeah, and differently abled. That's one good way to put it because none of us in this room think exactly the same, learn exactly the same. Some of us would be able to absorb information better by text, while some of us would prefer like through video. Um, so yes, good point. Someone in the back over there. One thing that you learned today. Yeah.
This, like, how best practices of accessibility.
Yes. Yeah, keeping those best practices in mind is necessary. Over here, let's get two from over here. Yes. Yeah, and that's a great one, and that is one of the easiest ones that you can start with today. Next time that you're making a link, think think about how can I adjust that instead of choosing click here, what within that sentence or how might you be able to adjust that sentence to then choose the meaningful information within that sentence as the link. So one more from over here. Yeah. And you're right on, because going back to when I was in this program, um, even though I still had the disability that I do, I am not impacted like the many others. So it didn't really come to mind. So that all attribute similar. Or if I used it at all, what I put in there, not necessarily the best. So one more from over here. Oh, okay, that'll work. Yes. Okay. And so, you are welcome, if you'll share this to them. I'm not sure, I was just putting that out there, but, you can, check out our website. So at sc.edu/accessibility/disability, digital. Um, and at least gaining a better sense of understanding the guidelines. So that's a good place to start, where it gives you links to then learn more through our website. Some of our links points to this web aims intro to web accessibility, and then W3C, you may be familiar with that. They have a web accessibility initiative. As you're seeing web here, again, uh, digital accessibility goes beyond web accessibility, and how I also have used transferable. So what you would learn here is not only for the web, but if you were to build software, um, this educates this to you. So basically, as some of you touched on, we all have the responsibility of keeping accessibility in mind. So I have some other um, resources here, but I am good for any questions that you have.
Any internships available?
Most likely. Um, so web tester that I was talking about, I'm expecting the ability to get at least one web tester. Um, and that was just an awesome experience for me. And the just kind of the wow moments that he gained from that.
So is this internship just for the summer or starting now, each semester you need someone or?
This would be sort of down the road. So yeah, if any of you are interested, we can work something out. Yes. Could you repeat that?
For IPAC or PCAT, I have searched for foundation.
Expand more on that and that.
The search for that.
The search.
Yeah. So certain
Certification that you have. What is that?
Oh, I apologize. Um, yeah, so the trusted tester really was the best one to help me build my strengths within actual web testing, because that's what it's solely focused on. training in depth of how to appropriately test websites, as well as what. So within that web, so we had web content accessibility guidelines. It helps you know what officially falls under each success criteria. As far as the core competencies certification that I got, that's like the big picture of everything that falls within digital accessibility, from learning the basics to incorporating it within your organization. So for the class that I just said, that was multiple choice. And then the trusted tester test is actually testing a website and providing the appropriate or correct answers, of course.
Now, we gotta wrap this up. We got another
Okay.
task to make. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.